Hello, everyone. Well, Ralph Goodale says that there's no national security nexus to the Toronto Danforth shooter. The ISIS propaganda arm claims responsibility without providing evidence. Okay, well, you know what, Mr. Goodale? I don't believe you. I don't believe you, and here's why. To show you guys what I'm talking about, we're going to go back to 2016. Hold on a second.
Beyond the overdoses, a potential threat to national security.
Could it be weaponized? So yeah, it could be weaponized.
Fentanyl's big brother, carfentanil, as destructive as nerve gas, now on America's doorstep. In an interview with Global News, the U.S. Department of Homeland Security blunt.
How do you draw the link between fentanyl or carfentanil and weaponizing it for the purposes of terrorism?
Because so little can affect so many, there's just a greater concern.
A single dose of carfentanil, enough to tranquilize a 10,000-pound elephant. Less than a single grain will kill a human. U.S. DEA Special Agent Keith Wise.
It's a big issue. It's a very, very dangerous substance.
A carfentanil attack here, not a fictional threat. It's already been weaponized. Russia, 2002. Soldiers pumped aerosolized carfentanil into a Moscow theater where Chechen militants were holding more than 800 hostages. The plan? To incapacitate, not kill, but more than 120 innocent civilians died. ISIS, with its army of 40,000 strong, a bona fide threat, says a former U.S. Defense Department chemical weapons expert.
They're already producing mustard gas, and we've seen them use that in Iraq and Syria. That is a very concerning situation.
Carfentanil.
Very concerning situation. Okay, so Global News laid it out pretty well, and this is way back in 2016, that carfentanil in mass amounts is dangerous, really dangerous, national security level dangerous. That was what she said at the beginning when talking about carfentanil. This is national security. 20 micrograms will kill an adult human. 20 micrograms, that's a grain of sand. So, my question, well, how does this relate to the Danforth terrorist? Good question. The older brother of the Toronto mass shooter was facing drug and weapon charges, but they buried the lead. He was a part of the bust that netted 42 kilograms of carfentanil. So, and that's 100 times more potent than fentanyl. So 42 kilograms, some quick back-of-the-napkin math, that's, if a grain of sand is enough to kill an adult, how many grains of sand in 42 kilograms? A million? A billion? It's a lot. It's enough to kill a city. Or if they're cutting it and using it for drug trafficking, I mean, you know, they probably use what, half a kilogram at a time to supply like the whole country, right? Because a grain of sand will kill an adult. So that just seems like they're purposely minimizing this story. So, okay, that's the Danforth killer's older brother. So is that a nexus yet? Does that make one familial relationship, does that make it a nexus to be potentially terrorism? Well, I guess there's no proof that this is terrorism related, but would a weapon of mass destruction count as terrorism regardless of the flag of the terrorist? I think probably, especially if they got to use it. Lucky for us, I think he's in a coma because he was likely exposed to the carfentanil, or however you pronounce it. So that's a little bit of karma. But Canadian taxpayers still have to pay to keep him in his coma. So, I mean, that's a little bit of a bitter pill to swallow. So, we've got Global News having a bunch of national security advisors saying mass amounts of carfentanil is potentially a national security threat. We've got the older brother implicated in the largest bust of carfentanil in the history of Canada. And we've got ISIS claiming responsibility. And we also heard at the end of that global news broadcast that ISIS, with its army of 40,000 people, has chemists. This was 2 years ago, back before Donald Trump destroyed ISIS. Yeah. So back then they had a lot of people and a lot of time to perfect their carfentanil delivery package or their delivery system. Evidently, they didn't invest enough time in the people because, well, one of them put himself into a coma and the other one just shot up the Danforth. So, as far as connections go, Mr. Goodale, I'm not sure what constitutes a nexus to you, but a single familial jump, brothers, one being connected to the largest carfentanil bust in Canadian history, and the other committing a terrorist shooting on the Danforth and killing 2 young people who do not deserve to die. There's no nexus there, sir? ISIS claiming responsibility and you say nothing to see here, they didn't provide proof? I think that you're sitting on the proof, sir. I think you're not sharing the proof with the Canadian people because that would change how the Canadian people feel about your policies with regard to bringing people to Canada. Be honest with the Canadian people, sir. Nobody believes you.